11th of May 2024. Priorities: technology development legislation enabling the establishment of a Centre for Artificial Intelligence to be introduced soon.
ඊට අමතරව මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මුදල් වෙන් කරන්න අඩු ගානේ රුපියල් බිලියනයක්වත් වෙන් කරන්න බුද්ධ ධර්මයයි කෘත්‍රිම බුද්ධියයි අතර තියෙන පරිශ්‍රණ වැඩ කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරන්න.
Rate hike possibility. Ministry of Finance to look into the possibility of increasing interest rates assured to senior citizens' savings. Direct investments. Sri Lanka's first private industrial zone to be established in Kankasanture. Government to focus on attracting investment to the mining industry.
We need to work more on the graphite. There are over 100 graphite deposits that have been used by the British, but we are only working with 2.
Tourism targets: $1.25 billion earned during the first quarter of 2024. Tourism authorities express confidence in achieving industry targets.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9 with Indivadi Amuwata. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us this weekend. We take you straight to your top stories making headlines across Sri Lanka and around the world tonight. We start off with your local news. President Ranil Wickremesinghe reveals that government has drafted new technology development laws that will allow the establishment of a Centre for Artificial Intelligence Development. Further, President Wickremesinghe highlighted the need to address serious impacts of climate change. Addressing an event in Moratuwa today, the head of state said 1 billion rupees will be set aside for research pertaining to Buddhism and artificial intelligence.
An event to celebrate the 100th year of the Sri Lanka Buddhist Society was held at the Buddhist Hall in Moratuwa today under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
One of the things that we have to face in the future is the effects of climate change. We have never experienced the level of heat that we are experiencing this month. We have to look at how we are going to face this problem. Why did this happen? That is because our greed to develop. Did we ever consider the impact a vehicle we travel can have on the environment? So we have to figure out ways to tackle climate change. With serious developments in technology, the world has now embraced artificial intelligence. What is the relationship between the preachings of Lord Buddha and artificial intelligence? We will introduce laws that will enable us to make good use of artificial intelligence. The Ministry of Technology has drafted a technology development law. Under the provisions of this act, a Centre for Artificial Intelligence will be established. I also expect to set aside at least 1 billion rupees for research pertaining to Buddhism and artificial intelligence.
බුද්ධ ධර්මයයි කෘත්‍රිම බුද්ධියයි අතර තියෙන පරිශ්‍රණ වැඩ කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරන්න.
ජීවිතේ හැම තැනකදීම ස්මාර්ට් වෙන්න. පොලිය විතරක් ගෙවාගෙන යන්න. CDB Smart Draft.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Sembalapitiya says he was instructed by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to hand over a report prepared with detailed analysis on how to provide solutions to requests received by the government to increase interest rates provided to senior citizens. Addressing media, State Minister Sembalapitiya went on to say that the report will be duly submitted. He added that the Treasury is yet to settle a loan of 105 billion rupees obtained by banks to cover interest rates of senior citizens assured previously.
The annual interest rate provided by banks to deposits of senior citizens of Sri Lanka was maintained at an assured rate of 15%. However, in 2020, the interest rate granted to senior citizens' deposits dropped to 5% after the Central Bank of Sri Lanka decided to lower rates. 4 years later, the government is now looking into the possibility of raising rates to double-digit level. In this backdrop, State Minister of Finance Ranjit Sembalapitiya said that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has instructed to hand over a report with recommendations of the Finance Ministry on how rates can be increased.
80 billion rupees is needed annually to provide this interest rate for the savings of all senior citizens. The Treasury is yet to pay back 105 billion rupees to banks which were obtained to provide the assured interest rate previously. The President is keen on solving this matter and is looking into it with sensitivity sensitivity. The President directed us to provide a report by analysing factors such as requests to increase interest rates. The report is to be prepared through a detailed analysis on how we can function considering the current economic hardships and cash flow. We expect to provide the report accordingly.
Tourism earnings to Sri Lanka has increased to a substantial $225.7 million in the month of April alone, rising significantly from $148.2 million recorded during the same period of last year. According to data issued by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, $1.25 billion was earned during the first 4 months of this year. Meanwhile, speaking in this regard, Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Priyantha Fernando, remained confident in achieving this year's target of $4 billion at year end.
Sri Lanka experienced a substantial boost in foreign exchange revenues via tourism in April 2024, reaching a significant $225.7 million. This signifies a notable increase of 52% compared to the previous year. This upsurge in revenue is accompanied by a substantial increase in tourist arrivals, amounting to 784,651 tourists so far. Accordingly, the month of April witnessed a total of 148,867 tourist arrivals. Additionally, this year's monthly earnings gained from tourism denotes a notable rise from $148.2 million recorded in the corresponding period last year. Meanwhile, speaking further, Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority Priyantha Fernando expressed positivity in achieving this year's target of $4 billion.
To end of April, the foreign exchange earnings to tourism was 1.25 billion. That's 1,250 million. And for the first quarter, we had registered just over $1 billion in earnings. The target that we have set is $4 billion and we should be able to exceed the target this year and register about 4.5 billion. Unfortunately, in the month of April, there was a slight dip, and we are quite confident that we will be able to catch up on it in the coming months. Even the tourist arrivals, there was a slight drop than what we had projected. We had ended the month of April with around 148,000 tourist arrivals, whereas we had targeted 475,000. There are several reasons for it. Some would attribute it to this visa-related issue, but it's not only the visa-related issue, but the floods in Dubai, as well as the war going on between Israel and Iran, which was taking place at that time, and the air access routes had to be changed, which had an impact on tourism into the region. So that's where we stand as of now.
The United States reiterated its assistance to Sri Lanka towards achieving a strong and dynamic economy. The US ambassador in Colombo has had discussions with the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, yesterday. US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung highlighted the need for good governance and transparency in Sri Lanka, while emphasizing continued support of the United States for the development of the island nation. The US envoy also stated that bilateral ties, debt restructuring and ongoing reforms were among key topics during the discussion with the governor of Central Bank. Meanwhile, nominee for US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Elizabeth Horse says she expects to support marginalized communities across the island, accountability, truth and reconciliation, and transparency and justice in Sri Lanka. Appearing before the US Senate Foreign Relations Committee, she also highlighted three main pillars for enhancing the US-Sri Lanka relationship, that is expanding economic cooperation, bolstering security interests, and deepening ties with Sri Lanka's diverse population.
Sri Lanka has been a vital partner to the United States in the Indo-Pacific region for over 76 years. And if confirmed, I'd focus on three main pillars of U.S. interests: broadening economic cooperation, bolstering security interests, and deepening ties with people across the entire country. Sri Lanka has shown resilience and continues to make steady progress on economic growth. As the country regains its economic footing, we will continue to support Sri Lanka's people. Sri Lanka's strategic significance in the Indian Ocean calls for cooperation to address security challenges and competitors. If confirmed, I will reiterate our shared commitment to a stable, free and open Indo-Pacific region and the rules-based international order. Sri Lanka has a vibrant civil society, and I look forward to expanding our people-to-people ties, including with the dynamic Sri Lankan American community. I'll support members of marginalized populations, accountability, truth and reconciliation, and transparency and justice. Let me close by noting a fourth pillar, the true source of diplomatic success, the people at U.S. Embassy Colombo. If confirmed, I will empower our interagency team and local staff to make a difference in our bilateral relationship and practice a foreign policy that benefits the American people. I look forward to working with Congress on these priorities.
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawege, Sajith Premadasa, highlighted that he will introduce a national policy for agriculture under a SJB government. Speaking at an event in Ampara, opposition leader Premadasa went on to say that a SJB-led government will not entertain personal political agenda of individuals or segregate ministries to fulfill such wishes.
A ceremony to launch Samagi Jana Balawege's Declaration of Farmers was held in Ampara under the patronage of SJB leader Sajith Premadasa today.
We have become a bankrupt country. You all remember how we were under pressure with no electricity, gas and rice. People lost their lives while waiting in fuel queues. However, keep in mind that this is the pain you felt when the country went bankrupt for the first time. Countries facing bankrupt for a second or third time face worse hardships. This country might face bankruptcy if we do not take correct decisions and properly elect the next government. Everyone fears us now. The SLPP, UNP, JVP and NPP fears us. They are launching conspiracies together. Keep in mind that the Bandaranayaka party will also join us. We will not segregate ministries to fulfill personal political agendas of individuals under a SJB-led government. I will bring the portfolios of land development, agriculture, irrigation and Mahaveli under one ministry, create a national policy for agriculture and make farmers of this country leaders.
The leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayake, says the establishment of a scientific national plan on land usage will be the first task of a NPP government. Speaking at an event in Colombo, the NPP leader emphasized the need for a change in the political culture in Sri Lanka and highlighted the importance of establishing a project where citizens hold ownership to lands without any political interference.
The National Conference of the Professional Surveyors Association was held this morning in Colombo under the patronage of leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayake.
ජයග්‍රහණය පිළිබඳව යම් දෙගිඩියාවක් තිබෙනවා නම් ඔබගේ මේ පැමිණීම පෙන්눔 කරන්නේ ඒ දෙගිඩියාව මුළුමනින්ම අවසන් වෙන බව.
If you have any doubt about our victory, you must be assured that this participation today proves you have nothing to worry about. We do not have a national program on land usage. I am of the view that it is the first task of the government to formulate a scientific national plan for land usage. The land usage plan must consider facts such as the composition of soil apart from features of the surface of the earth and the number of acres of the land. It is impossible to establish development strategies in a country without a robust plan. Most issues prevailing in the country are due to the informality in land use. As a result, it is essential to establish a project where citizens have their ownership to lands without any political interference. However, prior to all such initiatives, we require power. This power held by a small group will be transferred to a public movement by this year. We need a change. Those parties hold separate rallies and meetings in various areas. However, during all such meetings, those parties jointly pass the blame to us. We will continue to work as usual if we lose this election, but they can't resist losing an election. Therefore, they are willing to do anything to ensure their victory and hinder our victory. Initially, a change in this political culture should be made.
Welcome back. We take you to business news. State Minister of Investment Promotion Dilum Amanugama revealed that the first private industrial zone is expected to be set up on 700 acres of land in the area of Kankasanture in North with an investment of $500 million. Speaking at a media briefing, State Minister Amanugama said private industrial zones will also be set up in the areas of Mankulam, Trincomalee and Paranthan. During this meeting, Further, the State Minister revealed that the government is in the process of attracting investors for mineral mining in Sri Lanka, with 10 companies so far signing mining agreements.
Private economic zones ආරම්භ කිරීමේ
The government has decided to establish private industrial zones. Accordingly, the Board of Investment is in the process of obtaining ownership of lands in the areas of Trincomalee, Mankulam, Paranthan and Kankasanture, where these industrial zones will be established under a private-public partnership. An investor has expressed interest in establishing a private industrial zone in Kankasanture. Once the BOI gets those lands, we can set up the first private industrial zone in Kankasanture in an area of 700 acres in the vicinity of Kankasanture cement factory.
පැවැනි පෞද්ගලික කර්මාන්තපුර හැටියට ආරම්භ කරන්නත් ළඟදීම අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා කියන කාරණේ මතක් කරන්න අවශ්‍යයි.
ඔහු ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයෙක්ද විදේශී රටක කෙනෙක්ද කවුද?
ඔවුන් ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් කණ්ඩායමක්.
They are a group of Sri Lankans. However, they do not hold Sri Lankan citizenship. They lived in the northern areas of Sri Lanka and left the country for Canada during the conflict period. They have established successful business ventures in Canada. This is a joint project with an investment of $500 million.
$500 මිලියන 500ක් මූලිකව යොදලා මේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය ආරම්භ කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ කණ්ඩායමක් හැටියට ඒකාබද්ධව.
Also, there are some very rare mines in Trincomalee. Have you focused
Minerals.
on the minerals in mines?
Yes, minerals. As you know, we changed the mineral policy. There had been a practice where just a formed company which is not active comes and they get hold of someone, maybe bribe someone and get the license for the deposit. But they don't have the capacity to mine nor ship. Then they hold that license and go around the world and say, look here, I have a license for graphite, why don't you come? And then they try to cash that permit. So we have stopped that. Now the procedure is you have to come to BOI. They will go through the financials of the company. If the company is approved, we give the green light to GSLP, where they issue the mining and export permit. Only then that they can export, and then they can immediately start. They can immediately ship 30% or for 2 years raw. Meanwhile, they can come and fix their purification or powdering or whatever the value addition is. They have 2 years to commission their plant. So now there are so many grids that we have signed, and they will start very soon.
How many numbers please now that since you changed the law?
Now there are about over 10 companies who have signed and engaged. We need to work more on the graphite. There are over 100 graphite deposits that have been used by the British when they were ruling for whatever batteries or gunpowder or whatever. And these are all closed, shallow mines. There are over 100, but we are only working with 2. So there are so many mines that can be utilized.
Related to business in Germany, hundreds of climate protesters clashed with police after attempting to storm the Tesla factory near Berlin. Several people were injured, including 3 police officers, during a demonstration against the proposed expansion of the electric car giant's only European plant. Police made several arrests and prevented activists from gaining access to the facility. Campaigners camped out in woods in the state of Brandenburg since February, claiming Tesla's plans to double the size of its factory would damage the environment. According to police, motorways and railway services were also hindered as a result of the ongoing demonstrations. In a post on his social media platform X, Tesla CEO Elon Musk confirmed that the group did not break into the facility. Taking you to corporate affairs, a select group of private sector bank employees in Sri Lanka will be trained under a US aid project on debt restructuring, debt rehabilitation and new financial sector for micro, small and medium enterprises. With that, let's take a look at today's corporate news segment.
Novara Capital Limited has been appointed as the training partner for the United States Agency for International Development Catalyze Sri Lanka private sector development activity to train staff members of selected private sector banks and other financial institutions on debt restructuring, debt rehabilitation and new financing for micro, small and medium enterprises. The training programs are designed to provide staff members of leading banks and financial institutions with additional knowledge and in-depth understanding of the challenges faced by MSMEs as well as in dealing with MSME in debt restructuring, rehabilitation and new financing. It is expected that the program will support these organizations to expand their support towards MSMEs by providing them with access to new financing and more equitable solutions to their debt-related problems. Uber yesterday hosted Uber Springboard, an initiative to encourage Sri Lankan startups to strengthen the country's entrepreneurial ecosystem. With support from the Ministry of Technology, Uber selected 3 startups, K-Reader, Mancua and Magic, from a tech startup competition that are set to travel to Uber's Centre of Excellence in India for a mentorship program. In other corporate news, HNB Finance plc inked a Memorandum of Understanding with Cooperative Thrift and Credit Union Sanasa in a bid to extend HNB Finance's financial solutions to the underserved rural population of Sri Lanka. Through this initiative, residents of remote villages who previously lacked access to conventional or advanced financial services will now have the opportunity to fulfill their financial needs conveniently.
And in News in Brief, 5 Sri Lankans were detained by the State Border Guard of Latvia for allegedly transporting persons who illegally crossed the state border recently. With that, here's a look at other stories in brief.
The arrest was made when border guards stopped a car that was driven by a Sri Lankan citizen along with another Sri Lankan, both with valid residence permits. According to the State Border Guard of Latvia, 6 persons of Afro-Asian origin were found inside the car without travel documents, valid visas and residence permits. Issuing a statement, the State Border Guard of Latvia said that 3 other citizens of Sri Lanka who were moving in another car were also arrested by border guards on suspicion of providing support to migrants. The State Border Guard mentioned that legal proceedings were initiated against the suspects under the criminal law of Latvia, and if found guilty, the applicable punishment is deprivation of liberty for a period of 2 and up to 8 years. Meanwhile, an accomplice of an organised criminal under the alias Balle Saranga, currently residing in Dubai, has been arrested. He was arrested with a stock of crystal methamphetamine in his possession. In other news, a person who had 5 grams and 230 milligrams of heroin in possession was arrested by the police special task force in Matakulia.
Well, that wraps up tonight's edition of First at 9 on Ada Derana 24. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. I'm Indivari Amuatha. Good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.